this is a very important time in our lives, especially with what's happening in the US with the elections, and it does have definitely, I think, some impact on our job every day. And the things are also happening on your end in India as well. And so just wanted to spend some time just sharing a few things, a few thoughts about how we can continue pushing forward as an agency to be the best, in possible ways. But really also, like, Abhishek sent you an email yesterday. I told him that I really wanted to make this a very interactive session where everybody has a voice to share some ideas. So I really want as much participation as possible coming from all of you to really make this about us, not about me, not about Abhishek, but really about us as a team, and to come up with ideas and solutions and just some thoughts about different topics to make our job better. So that's why it's called a forum. It's not called a lecture or a webinar. It's really a forum. It's supposed to be about all of us together in this. So first of all, I guess I'm sure that many of you have been following the news in the USA and have been following the results of the elections with our country in the USA. And we knew a long time ago that one of the candidates, Donald Trump, was indeed in favor of closing the borders in the USA, changing a lot of the immigration quotas, and really sort of creating a culture against people that are not white. I don't think that I have to explain this in more details because I'm sure that the media has been doing a good job for that. But unfortunately, as we are today, we now have a new president, and there will be some changes, I think, in the country going forward. Not so much in the laws, because that will take some time, but more in the perception of how is the USA welcoming to Indians, to Muslims, to other people from the world who are aspiring to come study, to work in the USA. So first of all, I just wanted to say that I think that there are two things right now that might be in the thoughts of students that you counsel. And I would like to hear your thoughts about this, and maybe I can provide my input on this as well. But two events, just recently happened in the U.S. So the elections is number one. How much fear is that creating in people, and how are we able to sort of comfort students about the future of the USA and the prospective, future for themselves there? And just a few days ago, also, we had another campus shooting in Ohio State University, really close to where I live. And again, it's not the first time that we hear some shootings on campuses in the U.S. And so people are following the news in India. I know that it's quite amazing. And I want to know how are students reacting? What are you all telling the students when they come to you and say, hey, what's happening in the U.S.? Is this still a good place for me to go to? So I'll give you my perspective, and then I would like to hear some thoughts from everybody and from Abhishek as well about that. I think that number one is that we have to validate the emotion, which means that we cannot ignore that this is a fact, that people are becoming concerned about those things. And so number one, I think, is to recognize that yes, something is changing in the USA, and it's okay to feel scared, it's okay to feel doubtful, concerned about that. Family living in the U.S. as well, are they going to stay there? Are they going to change the HB1 quotas? There's a lot of things that people are wondering about their potential to go in the U.S. But I think more importantly is our job as counselors to make them understand that history has always had leaders that have said things during an election campaign that never really came to fruition afterward, and that the laws are here to to stay in the U.S. for a long time, and they will take a lot of different efforts to change them. In my perspective, I think that we need to continue aspiring students to become professionals in the USA as much as possible, to tell them that half the country, even more, voted against that, and there's a lot of people here that see that the good in people and diversity and religion, and that America continues to become the place in the world that we attract the most immigrants regardless of what's happening today. There will be maybe some mentality changes, it's true, but in general, every company, every university that I know of is pushing even further than before to react to what's happening by providing more services, more efforts to really welcome students on campuses, creating groups to welcome them, to feel good. And so I think that maybe even better than before, we're going to see a shift where there will be put more attention to the people that are coming from other countries to help them feel okay. So what are, maybe let's turn this now to you, and on that topic, what are some of your thoughts, stories that you hear, and how have you done with your team to turn them around with the students?
Okay, let me begin from my end. First of all, Michael, we are not able to see your presentation, so can you just share your screen? Yep, now it's fine, I guess. We can see you also.
Okay, just
Hi, if you can see
very
me.
good. I
We are
can't
looking
see you,
smart
but
in the morning.
yes, 6 in the morning. There we go. So
Okay,
did you at least could you hear me say things, right? You could.
sorry.
Could you hear me talk at least, right?
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, you heard me talk. That's good. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So generally,
So
like most of the students having these questions in their mind that now the Donald Trump is there, what will happen with them if they're going and all. But still it's too early to comment anything because he's still not started working as a president, and hopefully that when he start whatever he said at the time of the election, because as per the Indian citizens, we knows that all our ministers before the elections they say something, and in the end after getting elected they don't do anything whatever they said. So we are hoping the
mm,
same like with the Trump, because we are watching the complete elections and we seen that the both the parties are just going very personal attacks and all. Like it's complete like an Indian election which we are seeing the first time in America it's happening. So altogether
yeah,
we are hoping good, and I think the spring intake will let us know that what exactly it's changing, because if we are getting the visas for the our students, I think that everything will resolve the issues. I want some comment from the Jan and Vibhuti what they think about in this issue.
Yeah,
One thing what I
there
would
is
say
no such.
is, yes, I go ahead.
No problem. You can.
I would definitely agree with Abhishek sir, because the fear among students is definitely there, because what they hear is not actually the real scenario in US, but then they hear a lot of rumors which are coming through the grapevine, through other students or through consultants, who do not want to work in US. So they do want to know the situations, how would the scenario would be for F1 students who are now going to be entering into US. Will there be any difficult situations for H1 visas later on, or any rules and regulations which are about to maybe turn into an non-favorable situations for them? So this is true, like, students are actually thinking twice and thrice before moving the process for US nowadays.
okay. Somebody else wanted to speak, I think. Sorry, maybe.
Yeah. I would like to add the same thing as Abhishek sir told. Like, still we are not able to judge anything at present. As the visa starts getting approved or anybody start attending the visa interview for spring intake, then we'll be able to understand what is the current situation. And as Vibhuti said, yes, students are under dilemma that what's happening after completion of the studies. As if the policy changes, if any situation comes for the international student, they'll not be able to get a H1B or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's good to remind them also that just recently, like this year alone, the Congress passed a new regulation for the OPT, as we know, to extend this to up to 3 years now. So, eh, and at that time, the Congress was still Republican as well in favor, so like it is today. So I think that regardless of what's happening with the election today, the Congress believes in supporting, I think, work visas because they need, talent in the USA. The immigration question is really more, I think, geared toward the Mexican Americans who are coming through the borders of Mexico and the USA. So it doesn't really pertain so much to the other countries as much. And I think it's again a rhetoric from elections campaigns more than anything. So because in reality they will not be able to do anything about that without the Congress approval. And if the law was just changed recently, they will not change it again quite soon, I think. So remind students that that right now the situation is stable, that campuses are sensitive to that and reacting to it as well in a way that will make it even more, I think, friendly and welcoming for them, because now they need to put more, I think, attention to the issue. Does anybody else want to share a story or an idea around that? How you've been able to talk to students to make them feel more comfortable? Okay, well, let's move on then. So thank you. Yeah, so feel free to share. I think this is important because the reality is, is the perception of the world, right? It's not even always the fact sometimes. So then I want to kind of switch it to what's happening in India a little bit. So I'm following the news, of course, from my end, and I want to kind of get some insights from you as well so I can understand better how to relate this to the schools who are asking questions. Right now, what we know is that there's a new regulation that you know of course, about the old currency and the changes of the bills that will require people to exchange their money that might have been sitting under their bed for a long time in their houses, and sort of trying to curb the black market, right, is what I understand. So that could have, implications in the fact that people that were maybe not declaring money before will have to do so now. And as a result of this fear of losing money, we could see also a depreciation in that value of the currency, which would make it even more expensive to go in the USA. So I kind of want to open that up to you guys to tell me more about what's happening in India, and how do you think, and have you already thought about the implications for next year and the year after, and how will they actually impact our business?
I think this question we should take it from the Gujarat team, because Narendra Modi, he's from the Gujarat.
It's his fault, isn't it?
So Riddhi and Kunal, do you have any opinion on the matter?
Actually, we voted for him, so we have to comment on this. Something like that. Okay, the thing is, actually, as student, I communicate with a few parents and they are insecure in a current situation that today we have a money, tomorrow we might not have a money. So in other way, for going abroad, students are ready. I mean, they don't have any problem because they feel it's insecure with the currency and the situation. I personally feel.
And mainly, my opinion is that this is there is a this is a very big problem. Like right now, the Indian people are facing because of this this action what our prime minister has taken up. But again, this issues are with the very small kind of business where they are doing the cash transactions. But if we talk about the people who are doing the digital way transaction, like through wires, through checks, or through some other mediums, they're not facing that much of problem. And mostly the students who go abroad, they don't give any cash to somebody. They generally do the online transactions and all. On this way, there is no issues which we are facing in India. But yeah, as a parents or as a family, they have the problem with crunch of money, because they have to be very clear that what exactly and where they're spending, and if they're spending, they should have the to show to the government that that money is tax paid money, and it's not like some kind of other money which they have earned and they are sending their children to go abroad. So it will not hamper our business for the long go, yeah, but still we can expect 1 and 2 months where the people will not turn around to us because of this issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think it's an opportunity, maybe to some extent, to tell people also that, you know, the most stable currency in the world has always been the dollar. And so when you can actually earn money in dollars by working in the USA, then you're sort of also guaranteeing and securing a future for your family. So I think that this might be in our favor. It might not be in a good thing in the short term, you know, for people who maybe have a lot of money like this in cash. They wanted to provide scholarships for their students and family members. But the reality, I think, is that when you can provide a future in the US and earning income in the US, then that currency is stable. It will guarantee, I think, then in the future that's prosperity of the family. But thanks for sharing those thoughts, because I can already expect schools contacting us and asking questions about that. Somebody is to put it on mute.
Yeah, most of the students.
Hello?
Yes. Kalavati, you're speaking.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Kalavati here from Bangalore branch.
Hi there.
So
How
this
are
is
you?
a very temporary situation, and most of the students, they go for an educational loan. So this is not an issue at all for the students who are interested to go for year studies.
Okay. So that's good. So you're not seeing this as an issue then for us. Okay. Anybody else has had an experience with this? Anybody come up, or do you see any issue with that? Okay. So let's talk about something that is really more important for us right now, and I know for sure is impacting all of us big time. This fall has been very difficult for the schools, for the agencies, for the students, of course, first and foremost, because they are the one getting rejected. So we have seen a historical rejection rate, I think, you know, in the U.S. Embassies, in India particularly, but also it's the same thing happening in Nepal and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka as well. I've heard some other people telling me the same thing in this region. And I know that all of you have been probably frustrated. It's hard, you know, you work so hard for so long to a student to help them to apply, to do scholarships, to go to TOEFL, to the IELTS, and you know, and then they arrive at the end and they don't get the visa that they want to go to the USA, and they don't know why, and they don't feel like it's been a shared process, and they have a lot of questions, right, about the process as well. So we know that, you know, it's been affecting our business, and we know that as a result of that, and because it is still uncertain if this will change, depending, I think, on the political situation in the USA and the embassy protocol, we know that we have to continue finding solutions and ways for students to continue pursuing abroad programs. And that's why Abhishek and Abhi have been amazing leaders in exploring some new relationships with other universities all around the world, not just in the US anymore. As you might know, Abhi right now is in Miami, developing relationship with schools from Latin America, from Europe, from the US, Canada. And so I know that we want to continue making the US the best place for school, but in reality, if there are some students who really want to get started quickly, that we need to find some other solutions for that. So before we go into exploring other options, you know, as you might know, there are schools all over the world that, you know, we can suggest. But before I get there, regarding the visa appointment, some students are still getting through. So there are some good stories as well, some successes here. What I would like to know here is help me understand who are those people who are succeeding in the visa interview, and what makes them more ready to receive the visa, if anything, so that we can all know better how to maybe guide other students and also guide the schools who are asking questions about that and are very concerned about getting more students from India.
Yeah, in that case, I would wish to speak. Yeah, it's like I am getting the students who want to go without IELTS or GRE. And at that moment, I am just explaining them, trying to explain them. Even I spoke to Abby regarding that we should stop taking the students without these exams, because the visa rejection rate is high when the students, we apply for the students without these exams. So when the profile is strong, I don't think so there could be something which can stop them to go through that visa thing. Once we are training them for the visa interview and everything, their profile is strong, I believe they'll very well can go through with it.
Okay.
So profile is something which is very important. They should be with the exams, IELTS, GRE, GMAT, TOEFL. So like I believe everything should be in line, everything should be strong, and they should be well trained for the visa interview.
Okay. And how have you done it? How have you trained the students? You know, what are some things that you tell them to do to prepare for?
The
I know we
first
have
and foremost,
a video, of course, but more than that, I think.
first and foremost thing, what I tell them, just go for the exam, come for the training. We'll train you for the IELTS or TOEFL or GRE, GMAT. Just get acquainted with that. Book your dates. If you wish to go for spring, just like obviously, if you are going without exam, the visa officer is definitely going to ask you about the exam, and it might be the reason of your rejection. So first of all, train yourself for the exam. Book your dates, write your exam, achieve good, and then set your profile and then apply to the universities.
Okay.
Any comment?
Anybody else has some thoughts? Yeah, this is an important topic. So, Zaid, you know, if you can hear me, I want to ask you, for example, let's take the case study from the university in Miami with Alejandra San Ignacio. So, for example, with her in the summer and the fall, I think we at least had about 15 different applications for the MBA program. And I don't know that any of them received the visa. And that to me is concerning. And I wanted to see if you had some feedback on that, for example.
As Vibhuti was explaining, most of the students who applied for St. Ignacio or Kesar University, all the students were not having any sort of exams like IELTS or TOEFL or GRE or GMAT. That is one of the reason. Again, due to like some students were on the financial basis got rejected due to they were unable to prove the authenticity of the financial document.
Okay. Well, for the financial documents, for example, like, is that something that we can check and before we make them go through the process? I mean, how can we ensure that this person actually has the money from the bank or the family?
Yes,
I mean, that's
we have started checking that. Like now, each and every student who is going to the embassy, we have started checking the financial documents and all other documents, so that we are sure, like, yes, the student is carrying all the set of documents what the embassy is looking for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other thoughts from anybody else? I mean, I know it's happening to all of us in every city.
Vibhuti, you train your students for the spring intake. Like, what is your, what do you think about that visa rate and
Yeah,
how we can
I
improve?
I was. Yes, there was one another aspect that I actually observed with the students, like they only had one admit, they only applied to one university, and they also encounter these kind of questions: how many admits you have, or why, how many rejects, how many universities you applied. So when you have more admits, at least you can compare your I-20 to other I-20s you have, and at least you can prove them that you've selected a better university. So having applied just one university, having just one admit, it also does not maybe fulfills the purpose. It doesn't convinces the visa officer. This is what I've thought.
Okay. good suggestion.
And also when the students have not given any examination, like no GRE or no SAT or no IELTS, the only answer that we can convince the visa officer with is that the university has waived off my score. But then, having said that, my students have shared the experiences with me that when they shared exactly the same answer, the waiver was not actually giving a very convincing expressions because they were sure that the university is not that great and the student just wanted to enter US without giving any examinations.
Michael,
Yeah.
to bring a light to this, I think Vibhuti knows about this student exactly. So what I believe is before
Yeah.
applying, we need to get at least 2 to 3 I-20s for our students, because this happened with one of our students. He was just asked like, which university are you going to, and how many
Yeah.
applications, how many I-20s do you have? That's it, and then she got
Exactly.
rejected.
You only had one.
So
Yeah.
that might be an area of concern for us, because at least I believe we should at least have 3 I-20s in our hand, before the student goes for an interview.
Yeah. Makes sense. And that sometimes becomes difficult when you have students who are applying for a school that has like 4 or 5 intakes per year. So it doesn't always correspond to other schools, right, who are just twice a year intake sometimes. So that's something to keep in mind, when somebody is really like rushing, quick, I want to go to the USA, to make them explain that the system, the cycles of the semesters and quarters is different for each school, and that, they may have to be a bit more patient if they want to have more success in getting there. Because if they are rejected, it really is a bad thing for them. It can put the next couple of years in line in jeopardy for them. So I think, and I think this is what I'm hearing a lot from the Indians are very impatient. They want things quickly, they want things done fast, and I think that we have to educate them on the statistics and the facts that here it's more important to take your time and to be more planning strategically your future with us, and we can help you to do that. But you gotta really, I think, keep in mind that you have to choose and be comfortable with your choice of school that you're going to go to for your own reasons, for your own future, not because we're telling you to do that. And I think it's one of my next slides where I want to sort of explain what I call the balance, I think, between how much are we responsible for telling someone what to do and where to go, and how much is that the student responsibility? Because I think that in my experience, when I used to work as a university official, the best students were the one that really had found the school, had felt a connection with the school themselves, and had the personal motivations to get to where they want to go in the USA. And on the other side of this, you have students who are very unprepared, but they know they want to go to the US, so they go to us and they say, well, I want to study in the USA. And that's all they know. My friend has gone there, my cousin has gone there, and they say it's a good place to go, so I want to go too, right? I mean, you get those kind of very quick stories, right? And they want us to do everything for them. And I think I wanted to sort of kind of explain and at least get your thoughts also on what is the balance between giving the pressure on the student to do their own research, to become personally motivated and part of the process, as opposed to us telling them every single step of what to do. And when it comes to the visa interview at the end, they don't know what to do because they haven't been trained to know on their own what to do. They've been told to do, one step, second step, third step, and they're not learning in the process anything because they're just doing, not really learning and growing around with the process. And we think about how long do we have a student for, from the beginning when they come to you to the end of the visa. It can be 4, 5, 6 months, right, sometimes. So during that time, we have to ensure, I think, that we are engaging the student to become self-motivated, committed to the process, but also have a due diligence process where they actually are the one driving the process, not us, and that we become counselors. And if you think about the counseling role as it is supposed to be, it's supposed to be somebody who is guiding the person along, not so much telling them exactly what to do each single step. Because if that's the case, then at the end, I'm not learning anything. So I think that I want to hear some thoughts about your process and how you've been able to empower students to become much more responsible in the process, to be more ready for the interview at the end in the school too.
I think this is a really very valid point you took up, right? And this is happening here, that the students think that they pay some amount to us, and now it's all our responsibility to guide them step by step. And sometimes when we guide them to fill their own DS-160 form, and so that, do you know what you are filling up, they say, no, I paid you, so why should I fill? And sometimes I seen that the so many rejection happen because we fill the data, whatever the inputs we have got it from them, but while they're giving the interviews at the time of the US visa officers, they go through the DS-160 and the answers are not matching up, and they simply said that you entered something else in DS-160, and there you mentioned that form is entered by you, but again you are saying something else, and they reject their visas. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a small example where they don't do that. But again, if I believe that all the counselors, when they register their students, I think we should be communicate with them on not daily basis but at least weekly basis, to tell them what will be their next process. Like, we knew that there will be what kind of US cultures, we knew that what kind of programs are there, whatever the universities are there. I don't believe in this thing that they should have three I-20s, but I believe in this, that they should know at least 30 university or 20 universities around whatever they're choosing this one. So at the time of the interview, they can always mention, yeah, I browsed this many universities, and in the end, I selected these universities for my career. And the visa officer will be happy because he just want to make sure that you are not just selecting this university because somebody has told to you. You are selecting this university because you done your research and you thought, okay, this university is best suited to you. It is not like that it should be in top 10 or top 15 university, yeah, but it should be that your profile is matching with that university and that university profile is matching with you, and that's why you're going in this universities. So these things, I think, all the counselors, I think we are not following this thing, that most of the times when we recruit the students, we just update them about the I-20s, or we just update them about the visa dates. But I think we have to start now to really giving the real counselings to them, to let them know, no need to guide them everything, but yeah, we should tell them, yeah, this is your journey, this is your career, and you have to take it further. We can only let you know what are the informations are available, and they have to do their own research, that what kind of questions can come. We are always there to help them through assignments, through our online training, or through our mock interviews. But in the end, they are the people who go and take the interview. We cannot go behalf of them.
Yeah. And let me share what we used to do at the university also, because we used to receive students as well from the area we used to, so we would have to interview the students, explain the process, and we had to also be mindful of our time. Your time is very precious as counselors. We're very busy all the time. It's very complex of a job. And we have to put the resources where it makes the most sense with the best possible students as well. There's always this rule about 80-20, where 20% of the people carry 80% of the load. And I think it's no different for us as well. There are the students who come to you, and you know right away that they are the right people because they are prepared, they're focused, academically ready to go. And these people are the ones that we need to focus the most attention to. And then you have those who come to you just because they want to check it out, they want to learn more, they are just at the phase where they're learning and exploring, not really fully committed yet. Sometimes they've not even talked to their family yet. So that shows you that they're not ready at all. So I want you to be mindful about that. And it's your job to sort of pick up these cues when you interview them for the first time. And maybe it's helpful to sort of have a rating system, where you say, well, this person really is A student, a B student, a C student, like we do in sales, where you are sort of now putting your attention to those who have the highest priority and the highest potential of succeeding with you. And how do you test this? Can be very simple. You know, if you meet with them for the first hour, for the first time, and you ask them a lot of questions, right? You know, budget, location, ambition, where do you come from, where do you study, where's your family? That's good, that's great, and you want to do a profile, that's very important. But I would challenge you and encourage you to think about giving that person a really small assignment, a homework, and tell them, well, this is what I need from you by next week. If you really want to go and work with us, and I think we can work with you, you know, we feel good about your profile, why don't you by next week send me, do something. It could be anything, a resume, it could be send me, you know, maybe a personal note about what, you know, why do you really want to go in the USA, what are your motivations, you know, just write me a paragraph. The idea is not about the result. The idea is about testing the person's commitment to something that is very time intensive from you and from them too at the end, right? And if they respond to you within your time frame as you tell them, then you know this person is serious about this process. And then you've already engaged them, and so that you can rely on them to help you with, you know, in the process. But if you get somebody who is like, well, I don't know, I don't have time, you know, or I'll get back to you, and then you keep following up and nothing is happening, then this is a clue that, you know, this person is not fully committed yet. And maybe you should tell them that.
Yeah.
So like, what do you all think about that? I want to get some thoughts. I mean, there's a lot of counselors who work with students, you know, every single day here. Well, what have you thought to be some successful tips there?
Kritika, you
Yeah,
are
that's
there.
really a good idea to make the students work on their own profile, because that way is one thing is they do not take their consultants that they're going to spoon feed me for every process. For example, even if let's say I am making a personal statement for a student, I do not actually make it or build it word to word for a student, you know, randomly from anywhere. I rather prefer giving questions or a list of questionnaire to the student that he can answer about his profile. So he understands that even if it is my SOP, it is not like, you know, they have easily prepared from Google, but then they have actually helped me prepare own my personalized, my customized document for my application, for the strength of my application. So it is important to include students in their,
Mm-hmm. No, we just lost you.
Yeah, we lost her, I guess. Okay, no issue. Um, any words from Kritika? Like, what do you think about when you counsel your students?
am I audible now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say, that he was rightly saying that students need to be given that assignment. Like I was talking about the SOP assignments that I give to my students. I give them a set of questionnaire, which is, it fits every student's profile. They just need to answer that list of 10 questions. And I can help them, you know, write those questions into a very good SOP, which has good statements, which has good impactful expressions of words, so that they build their SOP on their own, you know. And when they have questions, they exactly know what to write in an SOP. So even this helps them that they're doing their own work and they're taking our guidance as well. So they understand that it's not going to be spoon feeded by us at every step, that we're going to write their SOP or LOR from Google or something. But then they do understand that we're working very minutely on their process. We're customizing their own document, their own profile for the application.
Okay. It's a good idea. Yeah, I think so. That's very, very good. Especially the personal statement is supposed to be very personal indeed, and it's supposed to be saying a lot about the person's motivation, I think. So that's a good exercise, I think. But you know, one thing I would say to you is that the SOP comes later in the process. So if there are some other ways to test that commitment even earlier on, I think that's what I would suggest to start. Because think about, let's say you have 50 students that you work with. And right now, with the visa rate being so low to 10-20% acceptance rate, that's only going to be about 5 to 6 students who will succeed out of 50, right? So think about how much time you've put for 45 students. It's enormous, right? You guys work a lot, and it took so much time, and at the end it doesn't happen. So I would really try to go and put as many processes in place earlier in the process, not later in the process, to funnel down the people that really are serious and to really push retention as much as possible.
So what
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, so what I understand, what Michael is talking about, that I think we should have, we should divide all our students in the category wise. So we should know that what is A category students and what is B category students and all, so that we can, like, we can work more hard to those kind of students where we think that they are committed about their goals, so that they are highly chances to get their visas, if we train them or if we tell them about the what are the process and all. For the big category students we can always help, but again we don't have to put all our efforts, because we knew that they are not committed enough. If we put all our efforts also, if they doesn't get the visas, still all our efforts are the vanished. So that's a thing, that if we can, let's say if we have the 50 students who are going for the interview, we should know where we, how much time I have to give to those kind of people who having the highly chances to go, get those visas. Any other counselors, do you have any question,
any more comments? Yeah.
any comments here? Feel free to say anybody, okay? So it's not we have to tell to you, it's not sales speech we are giving. It's a small kind of seminars without having any agenda. The whole point for today meeting is that it's a long time, like you didn't meet with the Michael. There are so many new members joined in this company, so I just want to introduce with the Michael, so that you can understand that we are, as a team, we are working, and if we work as a team we can achieve whatever the goals we have decided. So feel free, whatever you have in your mind. Don't be formal that the topic is like that and I'm talking to the other things. So you can talk anything, whatever you like.
Everybody has to talk at least a little bit. Come on. Well, I'll move on to the next slide then, okay? And then please feel free to jump in. Let's talk now a little bit more about the complexity of your job in terms of advising people to go to different places to study. So historically, of course, the USA has always been the #1 place for destination for students, and it continues to be for statistics purposes. But we know that with the visa issue, some students are looking into other options or asking you, where can I go where I have more chances of getting accepted because I was already rejected in the USA, now where do I go next? In the past, we used to say to people, well, you have to wait and you have to reapply, you're going to, just take your time. But now we have more options. And I don't know how much, but I've seen that you've been participating in many different webinars for study in France, study in Germany, study in Finland, study in Russia. And so what you're seeing is that the globality and mobility of students, I think, is going to change much more rapidly than we think in the world. So the US will continue to be the #1 place. However, I'm really thinking that many other countries are trying to attract students as well. Like China is even attracting Indian students, for example. And I think that people now are looking at just more than one options for getting good degrees, because the rankings of universities in Europe, in Canada, Australia is pretty strong as well. And so it's giving a really good proposition with cheaper tuitions to study in different places. So I wanted to just kind of mention that because I'm working with Abi and Abhishek to getting more schools to sign up with us from France, from Spain, from Colombia, from England, where the tuition rate is lower than in the US, but the program value is still just as good, which means that it's going to be a master's degree in English as well, like an MBA in English, but it's in Spain or it's in France, for example. The cost will be almost half the cost of the USA. The quality of life is very good in Europe as well, in other countries. And these countries, of course, are very relevant for the economy and the job marketplace afterward too. So my point here is that we have to start training our staff and ourselves to be much more broad in our thinking and options for people. In the past, you would always ask people, where do you want to go to study? And the USA has always been the number one answer, and that's maybe the logical place for people to go to. However, considering if they have no GRE, if they have no, TOEFL, maybe if they have low academic standards, now we can think about maybe some other places where we can send them to. And Abhishek, if you can maybe also help me there on that topic and give some advice about schools that you've seen that work well, and how do we go about them?
Yeah, so like we went through the EAI conference, and we met with so many European universities. We are exploring the Canadian universities and all. So my whole goal for 2017 is to recruit the students for the USA, Europe, Canada, and for the other countries like small number. We are not in the big numbers, but the small numbers. We can always go to the Asias, and we can go to the Australia and New Zealand and all. But my mainly focus we right now is Canada and the Europe, where we can establish the good relationship with the universities and the colleges, and what kind of programs they're offering and all. Because if we see the markets here in India, and I see my competitors, we have the huge competitions on the Australian universities and the New Zealand universities and the UK universities and all. But we have the less competition for the Europe universities, and there are a couple of the good programs which we seen in the Europe. It's like the free educations and the low tuition fees, the PhD programs, the doctorate programs, master's programs, engineering programs, and all. So there are plenty of the opportunities that are available in the Europe, and we have the very good successful visa rates. Also, we have got some visas for the Italy, Poland, Georgia, all of these countries, and we've seen that the students who are rejecting for the USA visas because of their either their communication skills, or because they don't have any IELTS and TOEFL exams. Those kind of students, they can easily get the admissions in the European universities, and the European universities visa rates are more than 90%. So this is a very good market and very good strategy for us to still recruit the students for the USA. But in the end, if they are getting rejected, we should always plan their one backup country, so that they will be not disappointment that I got my rejection, what I will do in my future and all. But if we have any acceptance letter or any kind of admission letter from the other countries and other universities also, we can always tell them, no worries, we are always there to help you, to send you abroad to any other country.
I want to add in that from last to last intake, when the USA visa rate going down, we started two things together. In the sense, we are taking USA consultancy as well as one more country option. For instance, Canada, European, any country. So once a student rejecting a USA, the student has already another admission like Canada, France, or even Georgia. So students are happy. End of day, they are having a visa, so they are happy. And a part of that, they don't need to pay two times consultancy. In the sense, once they paid for a USA, and second time they come and they pay for a France. So we give certain discount. So pay once to consultancy fee, two countries consultancy fee, and you have two options. So they are not missing that intake. In the sense, they thought that they will fly for a spring intake. They are flying for a spring intake. The country is different. So we started last to last intake already.
That's really
and
good.
Response is actually very good. And now we have, as you say that USA is always a first choice of country. Everyone is coming. Even without IELTS, without GRE, we are telling them that you will not get the visa. The visa ratio is very low, but still their first choice is always USA. So we offer them, okay, try once for a USA. If you are not getting visa, still you are our student. We'll send you somewhere in a Europe. And recently, student get a visa for a Georgia. And Georgia, believe me, I never heard before that Georgia is a country in a Europe. I thought it's a state in a USA.
It is also.
So, but still, students are happy. I mean, they called up and they said, no, it's a good. It's not USA, but they are not unhappy. So this is my experience with the student, as they want to go abroad to study. And they are open for Europe, Canada. Canada is always a good option, but they are open for even Europe.
Yeah, Europe is, I mean, I'm European. I don't know if you know this, since there are some new people there. I'm French, Italian originally, and I can tell you that the European schools are thinking hard about attracting more international students. Historically, they would always attract European students, of course, because there was free borders. But now they see the potential in Asia, Chinese and Indian students especially. And so it's a new market for us. I think it's our opportunity to find some good relationships there, some good schools. And the rankings of schools in France and England are very, very, very good. And they offer private universities which offer English master's degree with also the options to work in France for a year afterwards. So to me, I think that this is a really, really good offer. If US doesn't work out, I would say send them to France, Spain, England. Georgia is great for sure. It's very cheap, no matter what. But Georgia doesn't have the same credibility as a European university does. The European universities are at the same level, you can say, as US universities. So if you think about how people see the value and their investment in time and money, and how it's going to look on the resume afterward, coming from a European school, living in Europe for a couple of years is going to change people's life completely. And they will put them in touch with companies, with professionals. And as we know, the world is global now. So from a global economic standpoint for work, the most powerful countries doing business, are European, American, Canadian, Australian, Japanese, Chinese, Indians, but those small countries like Bulgaria, Georgia, will tend to be at the bottom of that list. So just keep that in mind. I think that, we want to offer you some better options for that, for sure. Anybody else has some stories about sending students to Europe or to Canada? Okay. Well, I think we heard a really good example there from Curdy that, it's good to have a backup plan earlier on as much as possible. So now let me talk to you about something that is quite important from my perspective, because I'm getting a lot of the schools talk to me about the process, the applications, how we're following up on them, what are we doing to send good students. And what I notice is that reputations with agencies is sometimes very thin. It's holding on a very thin line, meaning that one school oftentimes will work with about 20 to 50 agencies worldwide, okay? So we are always one of many different ones that a school works with. And so it's a very competitive market, as you know. And as a result of that, every interaction that we have with the school creates either a positive or negative experience with the school, right? So schools are very particular about how good students we're sending to them, number one, of course. But second, how we're communicating the programs of their schools to their students that we are sending. So I wanted to just kind of bring that to the table because I really feel like we have to do our due diligence and ask the student as well to really carefully study the school and to know it very well, to be prepared to understand why they're getting into that school, to explain this to the immigration officer, but also so that you know that the school feels like we are doing a good job advising students, and that we're not just telling them, go there, go there, go there, it's a good school. We want the students to kind of realize this on their own by doing their own exploration and research, number one. The second thing that I'm hearing a lot from schools is that we have to give them full applications, double-checked, triple-checked, that are correct and not missing any information. Schools are very, very also busy. As you might imagine, you know, they get thousands of applications for programs. They don't have time to check each single page of papers and tell us, okay, you're missing this document for the student, you're missing that, you didn't sign this document, you're missing a date there, you didn't put the credit card information there. Whenever a school receives information from us that is incomplete, it really doesn't leave a good image about how we are thorough in our process. So I've talked to Abhishek about this before. I think it's very important for our reputation to continue growing, that we are very, very good at doing quality assurance on all the forms that we send to the schools. I think Abhishek, you probably should touch this on this. You know, I think it's important as well to add your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think that is true, and we've seen the delay of the I-20s most of the time because of the incomplete documents submitted in the first phase, and it is happening regularly. It's not like it's rarely happen. It's happened very regularly where we apply to the students. I don't know. Most of the times, the counselors, they are always in the hurry that they get the application. They have to forward them before they forget that it's student, and sometimes they doesn't check properly that what they are sending to the documents to the university. Sometimes we have seen that you are sending the n number of files which is not required, because you know that what they are looking for. We don't have to send them the unnecessary document which is doesn't not required for their admission purpose. Might be it is good, like if in the future if they have those kind of documents, but if it doesn't, this doesn't matter for the university if they have done any kind of other certification or any kind of other work experience which is not related for their admission decision. So we have to make sure that we send the crisp information what they are looking for, and we should at least check 3 times or 4 times before we forward to anybody else. Sometimes I have seen that the counselor, they say that application filled by somebody else, I forward a document to them, they should check it, because in the end it's your responsibility, it's your students. And if somebody has done the mistake also, gone, क्या हुआ, इन्वर्टर चला गया, Shit. देखो जाके एटलीस्ट इन्वर्टर से चालू कर दो, एक सिस्टम चालू हो जाए. Where is my mobile यार, क्या हुआ था, इन्वर्टर से नहीं चलाता क्या, उठा नहीं था क्या, वो बंद कर दो, लाइटें बंद कर दो अननेसेसरी. आ रहा है, इंटरनेट चालू हुआ, इंटरनेट चालू हुआ. Can you hear me now?
PDF. That is really good for the university to process the application at a very fast rate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, whenever a university is receiving an SOP and it has the wrong program and the wrong school, right away they know that we're not doing our job correctly, that maybe this person is applying somewhere else and doesn't really care to go to their school. So especially if you want to go to really good school, and you know, we work with some good schools like DePaul University in Chicago, for example. The state universities, you know, are very strong standards as well. So these schools, you know, really want to be sure that this person is a good fit for them because they have ranking standards to keep up with. So very, very important. Thanks for bringing it up. I think it's a great comment.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry,
Okay.
there was some internet issue in our end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has to do with counselors helping out, and also I think that the management team of Study Metro to find a way to create a good database to really help people to see clearly the checklist, you know, for each different program. And I know it's, you know, we have so many schools that we work.
I-20 student should report at each and every time whether he has started the visa processing or not, whether the DS-160 has been filled out or not, or whether the most important thing, the service ID has been paid or not. The student should pay
Oh,
the
yeah.
service ID, then update the university at the same time that service ID has been paid. Then university can get relief, the student will come to us. So it's better for the communication and get the visa date earliest and update the university at the same time. Because sometimes some universities giving the students, they are helping the students for the visa training as well. So if we are updating the university, the student is going for that day for the visa interview, they may can give some points. What are the points to be included at the time of the visa interview?
Yeah,
So it
very
also
true.
helps student if we are giving the proper information to the university regarding their visa dates and the service fee and the DS-160.
Yeah, yeah. Schools actually like to create maybe even a Skype phone call with the student before they go to the interview too. So it takes away your job a little bit to help you to do some other things. And it's a very good collaborative partnership, I think, in that case. Yeah. So it's good to communicate like a week before, 2 weeks before, say, hey, you know, we have your students here are scheduled to go to the interview process. So if you want, you can reach out to them directly, make sure that they are ready to promote your school. It's a very good idea. Yeah. Abhishek, anything on that?
Yeah, I think we should make this habit that whatever the students are applying through us, they are in with our Skype. We are we are talking to them, we are understanding them, and the same thing whenever they get their I-20s, they start speaking with the universities and all. University will like that, and in the end, somewhere it help us also because most of the times that we students go at the time of visa officer, they'll ask who are your point of contact person in the university, why you chosen this university, what are the other programs you offered in this university. Sometimes when they had a word with the university people, they knew something about the universities. It's not like their agent said you applied here and they just simply applied. So it's always good that we should communicate with the student. The only issue which I feel with the agent students, I don't know why the agents never want their students to communicate directly with either with us or with the universities, because sometimes their fear is that they charge
Mhm.
some amount to the students and it will be disclosed if they speak with any third party. But they never understand that we are there only to help them, and we have to educate our agents and our franchisee and everybody, is that everybody's are working as a team to help each other. So if we are helping each other, the students are getting visas, everybody get benefits and the company will get the benefits.
Yeah, and the schools, will understand if we get rejections. It's not a problem. I think what they want is just communication to feel like we are telling them what's happening, because it's hard, but like you are really removed from the American school. You are in India, we are in the USA, and there's a big difference, right, in a culture, in time, and to close that gap virtually, it comes down to a more regular, I think, communication between the admissions staff in the university and us, and telling them, hey, I know that we've been waiting for this for a long time. Just wanted to give you a heads up. This is where we are, and also not being afraid of asking them questions, I think, Joe. American culture is a very collaborative culture, and they prefer that you ask more questions than as opposed to surprising them with bad news, And I think in India it's a little bit different, and I think this is where we kind of sometimes see the clashes in culture. I think in India we are very proud and we don't want to always divulge everything. Because we think that if we're asking too many questions, it means that we don't know what we're talking about, and so it may be like disrespectful. In fact, in America, it's all the opposite. If you want to be, and if you have any doubts, concerns, and you're not sure about something, any clarifications, don't be afraid of asking the school for feedback, because they will, I think, appreciate that you're trying to be collaborative with them much more than you think. Okay, so I think we're going to try to wrap this up. It's coming too close to, and then I just wanted to show this picture. I think we're hearing more school options. We're trying to grow Study Metro with different franchise and agents as well. We have very ambitious goal to continue growing in all over India, and at the same time, we know it's becoming more and more difficult to get acceptance and visa rates. So I think that one thing that we all need to do is to be more efficient in prioritizing, first of all, who we work with. So number one is who are the best students we want to work with, number one. And then how do we manage this information that is constantly changing and evolving with university policies. And then, expecting that Abhishek and Abhi and I are going to continue adding more and more partners next year. So how do we keep your management of all this data flowing and easy to understand for your staff and for your counselors? And I think it comes down to all of you to kind of keep up with the webinars that we organize for you, with the database that we keep having. The new website launched recently as well would be great, I think, too. And we want to continue being part of that process to help you out. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on what you talked about before. I think it's very important to realize that not every student is going to be a successful student today. Today is the key, right? Because we want everyone to succeed. But some people are more ready today than others. One could be a year from now, one could be 6 months from now. But then you have those who are ready to go today. Everything has been perfectly aligned. And these are the people we want to focus on the most today. Remember that it's very important to check on the student also after they have completed the visa and they have come to the US. There's nothing more personal than asking them about the first day of school. I don't know how many of you do that. I would think not many people do that, but when a student starts school the first week in America, it's very emotional, right? It's a very important time for them. And that's the best time for you as an agent, a counselor, to reach back to the student and say, hey, how is it going? How was your first week of school? Tell me about it, right? To show that you're following their success, not just when they were in India, but also when they're going to the USA. Because these people then will remember you much longer and give you more referrals to other people in India as well. So we can continue building our business as an agency. So I think that we are at the end here. Abhishek, what do you think we should conclude with? You know, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or ask questions to the team about?
Yeah, I want to talk about your slide 10 where you're talking about to make a relationship with the students, and it is really very important, which
Okay.
I seen that when I see my the chart, what are the students comes to us and what are the students got their visa and how we generating the inquiry and what are the inquiries are actually recruiting as a students. And most of the times I seen that the students are coming from the reference, the 70% or 80% of those students who are referred by somebody else, and they just come and they just pay us and they took our services because they believed in study metro somewhere. So
Right.
this is really the key point to get more students. And so in a way, if you are supporting them to talking to them when they reach there or before they reaching here itself, if you satisfy with whatever the expectation they have from you, you believe me, you don't have to recruit you don't have to talk to the 50 other people, because these people only they'll give you students. And in a way the relationship is like that, I knew that guy who helped me, okay, I have another friends, go to this guy. So you don't have to depend on the company also to provide you the leads and to provide you the new students who comes to you and meet with you, because in the end you are generating the leads by yourself through mouth of publicity, that your people are coming and they're helping you in a way that uh, uh, the last week when I was speaking with the Jad, and he gave me one very good story that there was one student from USU, and he just passed out and he got the OPT, and he just called him in the night 2 a.m. to him, and he said that thank you very much, whatever I'm doing here because of you, you done a very good job to me, and today I got my OPT approval and they are offering, they will file H1B also for me. And the next half an hour he's only talking about the study metro made my life and blah 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 blah. He said I could not sleep that night because I was thinking about this guy, that I did my job whatever I have to do that, but somebody is still remembering me after reaching 2 to 3 years in the United States. So you don't know
Yeah.
what kind of good things you do with the other people, and somewhere they remember you because of your hard efforts.
Yeah. It's very important to keep in touch with people, and because it's a true role of a counselor, right? Because you don't want to be a salesperson. You want to be a true counselor, and that means that you are following somebody's life and carrying them to a level that is deeper than just a transaction of today. And I think that's where we can significantly make a difference between Study Metro and other agencies who all they look at the volume and the numbers, not the people and their impact. And I think this is where we can make the most impact ourselves. Very good. Abhishek, is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions? Since now you have a chance to speak to me as well about the USA, what's going on here. Please, ask me questions. And this is your opportunity. I'm happy to be.
Yeah, we
Here for
still
you.
have 8 minutes time for this meeting, so I would like that anybody having any questions, feel free to ask here. Okay, anything
Any question?
technical,
Yeah.
non-technical, whatever you
I
feel,
would like
just let us know.
I would like to say something. It's like, as you said, Mr. Abhishek, that leads, you should not give us the leads. In fact, we should generate the leads. So, like nowadays, me and Vibhuti, we are working in that way. And like we are visiting schools and colleges, we are communicating rigorously with the students, and like We are organizing seminars to the various schools and colleges, and we are getting real good results. They're like walk-ins had like increased at our office. Like footfall is there now, and they are coming for the inquiries, and we are giving them the right knowledge about the country they want, and we are conveying them the best thing as per their profile. So it's like, the thing is that if we really work in that field of generating the leads, we can really get them once we are with the mindset that yes, we have to do and we will do. And I would like that Vibhuti should also speak in that. Vibhuti, please, can you like take over to this?
Yeah, one thing that I've always believed is, as Abhishek sir rightly said, that once you help a student in a very, best assistance and best services, he would actually do the rest of the marketing for you. He wouldn't even want to, indulge any investment of time and money into marketing. So that's what throughout all these years of my counseling I've been doing, and luckily I do get students again and again every year, every month, that they bring references to us because of the right guidance that we have provided to them. So a positive word of mouth wonders than any investment which is made on, hoardings or a lot of marketing investment, marketing budget going out. So what I believe is, we just develop a strong brand name for these services that we assure to students, and then the publicity, the mouth of word will just spread like fire. So we just planning to build a strong branding and investment.
True, like me and Vibhuti, we are actually planning every day, and we are coming up with new plans every time. And we are not just planning, we are executing those plans.
Great, great. So I think let's summarize this call now because we have only the 5 minutes, and so we don't want to extend more. So the thing is that today we have the Michael here, and again I would just want to say that we have the assets who's working from the US team, which most of the company doesn't have it. So we have to utilize him whenever you guys required. Feel free to send an email to the Michael whenever you feel that you required any kind of supports when your I-20s or universities response you are not getting up. Feel free to write down the email directly to the Michael at michael@studymeter.com. Also, sometimes if you feel that your students want, if he's having the correct kind of questions, and if you want that somebody can work with them, and if you want that some small call which you want to arrange with the Michael is always there to support you. Okay, so don't hesitate that nobody is there to help them. So we are always in a way that we are always think that we can support them through Michael or any other existing students who are standing there, so that you can speak with them. And you always mention to your students also like that it's not about that we just get the I-20 and our job is done. We are always there to support you. So once you arrived in the USA also, if you want to become as a student ambassador, you can work as a student ambassador, and we are paying them the very high salary, like we are paying them $300 if they are recruiting any students for us, and it's good money for them also, because in the end they just go there, they don't know, they have a very financial crisis while they are studying. But if they are working with us as a student ambassador, Michael will make sure that he will talk to them regularly. He train them about what are the schools we have, what are the programs we have, and in the end our goal is to support them and be in touch with them. So if one after reaching there also, if they are in your contact, it always help us to get more students from our end. So try to, whatever the students you recruit, that you should be in their Facebook, in their Skype, in their WhatsApp, so that if they change their number or whatever happened, you can always reach to them.
Yeah.
Michael, you want to
No,
add?
I'm definitely here to help. So I'll give you an example. I think I got a couple of emails this week from Curdy and from Zaid, I think, just asking me about, hey, I've been trying to reach this school, but I'm not getting any feedback. Can you contact them directly, please? So I can pick up the phone, I can email them. And sometimes it's because it's coming from an American person. I guess, people get to respond because it's a new person they're not used to, so they think it's more important. So it has worked very well in the past. If you need an answer quickly, I'm often able to get it for you. If you tell me what you need, the student's name, your contact in the school, and then I'll make the phone call for you. That's for sure. And at the same time, reach me anytime you want for any suggestions, feedback, about anything else as well. So don't think that I'm too far away to help you. I'm really here to help you anytime. Hopefully, I come to see you pretty soon in India.
Definitely. Might be in the first or
Okay.
second quarter. That would be really good for us before the fall intake.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, we can make that happen, I think.
Yeah.
Then I can come to all the cities and see all of you. Yeah,
The new idea which
absolutely.
I want to share with you, that we are planning to do some kind of fair in the March month. And Michael, if you can come on that time, we are planning to invite all our partners, and we are going to do some kind of education fair in different cities. And I will talk in
Okay.
details with all the franchisee and all other counselors. But this is the plan is going
Okay.
on, and then we will let you know once Abby is back from the USA, so that because we are telling the same thing to our partner university also, to just take a feedback that how many are interested to come to the Indian Over Fair. So
Okay. Let's discuss. Yeah.
yeah, so we will let you know everybody, and we have to work on that side, that get a more schools, get a more students, and get more networks in different cities in India where we don't have any offices now.
Yeah. In Delhi, especially. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks again, everybody. You have my email address. I will send you this presentation if you want to, Abhishek, as well, so you can share it with your staff. If anything, it could be just a good tool to use sometimes, just to step back and rethink about strategies for your office and get back to motivation again too. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day from Chicago, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your time in the morning, and thank you very much, everybody. It's a weekend evening, so I knew everybody have a time plan to go somewhere.
Have a good meal.
So
Yes. Yes.
have a good evening and have a good weekend ahead. Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye. Bye.